Hello everyone, welcome to the School Social Work Team's presentation on PBIS, Positive Behavioral Interventions and Supports. I'd like to start off by introducing our social work team, Carmen, Julissa, Elvia, Nora, and myself. You might find yourself wondering, what is PBIS and how is this going to support me in my classroom? So we're presenting on PBIS in response to your requests for more behavioral supports and strategies in the classroom, as we've seen an increase in referrals from teachers for challenging student behaviors in the classroom, like students engaging in connection-seeking behaviors, not following the rules, and demonstrating difficulties in being on task. We know that following our return to in-person learning, there have been a number of challenges that you all are facing in the classroom, as our students and staff relearn what it means to be in a classroom where there are rules and expectations that might feel new after being on distance learning for so long. So today you'll hear a bit more about what PBIS is, what behaviors it can support in addressing, and how it can be implemented in the classroom and school community.
PBIS is an evidence-based three-tiered framework which makes up the multi-tier system of supports, including Tier 1, Tier 2, and Tier 3. PBIS is important to teachers because it is a system that supports your students, the learning environment, and you as a teacher. PBIS in practice can provide improved student social and academic outcomes, reduce exclusionary discipline, and improve teacher outcomes. Classroom PBIS maximizes structure, sets expectations and rules, encourages student engagement, acknowledges appropriate behavior, and most importantly, it guides you as a teacher to respond to inappropriate behaviors in the most effective and safe manner. This presentation was especially created for you as teachers, and it aims to develop a sense of commitment to address student behavior, provides evidence-based interventions and strategies that can be applied in the classroom setting to support your students and you as an educator. It shares data gathered from your own students that was utilized to select, monitor, and evaluate the outcomes and practices. The takeaways that can be expected from this presentation is information that can support you in achieving improved student outcomes such as academic performance, social and emotional competence, social and academic outcomes, reduced bullying behaviors, decreased rate of student reporting drug and alcohol abuse, reduced exclusionary discipline such as a decrease in office discipline referrals, a decrease in suspensions, and a decrease in restraint and seclusions. And lastly, improved teacher outcomes, such as perception of teacher efficacy, school organizational health and school climate, and perception of school safety.
Located in northern Kern County, Lost Hills School District serves a population of 296 students from grades K through 8. 49.6% who are identified as migrant, 55.1% identified as English learners, 88.9% identified as social economically disadvantaged, and 100% receive free breakfast and lunch through the CEP program. Lost Hills implemented PBIS in 2018 to promote a positive school culture and develop a campus-wide system of supports. Building relationships is a big part of PBIS. Students learn from example, so treat them with the same respect you expect to be treated with. Some of the things that we can do to help build relationships is as simple as learning our students' names, finding out what some of their interests are. Are they participating in any extracurricular activities? Who's their favorite sports team? Do they have a dog? Just simple things to help you connect. You want to make eye contact when you're speaking with them. Create high expectations. Be reliable and trustworthy. If you say something, keep your word. And then we also want to praise in public and correct in private. Remember, building relationships is more than understanding others. It's making people feel understood.
Behavior is a skill that must be learned, and when we are able to create clear and consistent expectations that are defined and explained to our students, they're more likely to absorb what it is we are expecting from them while in the classroom and at school. We provide specific instructions, model the behavior, and let our students have an opportunity to practice that skill while we're providing support until the skill is learned. These expectations should be in line with the school's mission statement and should be taught to all faculty, students, and families.
Thank you for defining expectations. So now I'm going to introduce how teachers can acknowledge expectations, right? For Lost Hills, the expectations for the school district is referred in the PBIS model as an acronym as in PAUSE. For the school district, we want to use P for prompt and prepared, A is for acting responsibly, W is working with integrity, S for self and social awareness. Now we're going to define these expectations, right, and where we're going to implement them. We want our students to use PAUSE throughout the school district, in all campus settings, including classrooms, libraries, playgrounds, and buses. We want to teach these expectations by modeling positive behavior, practicing them frequently in different settings, and prompting your students to use PAUSE. Number 3, we want to use positive reinforcement. We want to provide reward PAUSE tickets so they can purchase prizes online. We want to provide verbal praises for desired behaviors. Okay, and number 4, we want to use restorative consequences. Provide behavior interventions for those challenging behaviors. We want to reteach expectations to students, and we want to consistently discipline with different strategies. We want to change from punitive communication to a more positive communication. We want to teach versus tell.
When responding to problem behavior, there's a few things we want to consider. First, Q-tip. Get a Q-tip. Quit taking it personally. You are not the cause of the defiance. You are the outlet for the child. And also we want to consider our own body language, our tone, our volume and voice. Is it supportive or impatient? Is it empathic or condescending? Is it interested or is it judgmental? Recognizing our own behaviors can help us when we're responding to theirs.
Now I would like to introduce you guys methods of how to build a positive relationship with your students. Most of us remember a teacher who went above and beyond to engage us in learning. That teacher likely connected with us and made us feel excited to learn. As an educator, one of the strongest impressions you can make on students is how to make them feel. When students feel you care about them and want what is best for them, they are more likely to engage and work hard, right? And cooperate with you. The opposite is also true. When students lack supportive relationships with their students, it impacts their academic achievement, increasing the likelihood of them engaging in disruptive behaviors and even factors in their decisions to drop out. Okay, one of the most effective ways to increase student engagement and achievement is by building that strong relationship with your students. So I have 6 strategies here. So the first one is show students you care. Number 2 is develop mutual trust. Number 3 is consider students' perspective. Number 4 is practice constructive discipline. Number 5 is offer words of encouragement and get to know your students' families as well.
A relevant policy to PBIS is RTI, Response to Intervention. PBIS focuses on school-wide behaviors, attendance, truancy, social-emotional health, trauma, chemical dependency, and bullying. Many teachers may be familiar to RTI as this intervention focuses on academics, specifically on literacy, math, writing, science, and social studies. They both fall under the same umbrella of MTSS, multi-tiered system of supports. Tier 1 includes 80 to 90% of the student population and is a universal support for all students. Tier 2 is 5 to 10% of the student population and is targeted support for some students who are at risk. And Tier 3 includes 1 to 5% of the student population and is an individualized intervention for the new students with intensive and persistent challenges. Both evidence-based practices have one goal: improve student outcomes. Response to interventions derived from efforts to improve special education services. This helps identify students who are struggling academically and provide support early when learning challenges are present. In Tier 1, all students receive high-quality, scientifically based instruction provided by qualified personnel. Tier 2 provides support to students who are not making adequate progress in the regular classroom. Services and interventions are provided in small group settings in addition to instruction and the general curriculum. Students who continue to show little progress are offered Tier 3 support, which are individualized intensive interventions that target the student's skill deficits. If students need additional support beyond Tier 3, they are referred for an evaluation for special education services such as 504s or IEPs. PBIS is an evidence-based three-tiered framework to help prevent and reduce undesired behavior and improve social and academic behavior outcomes. Tier 1 emphasizes on pro-social skills and expectations by teaching and acknowledging appropriate student behavior. The Tier 1 team meets regularly to evaluate school-wide practices and evaluate their effectiveness. This team consists of a school administrator, family representation, classroom teachers, and student representations. Tier 2 supports students who are at risk of developing more serious problem behaviors and offered in group settings of 10 or more students. Interventions emphasize on social skills, self-management, and academic supports. Tier 2 referrals are identified by office discipline referrals, screening instrument scores, teacher nominations, parent and support service recommendations, and formative assessments. The team consists of a school administrator, behavior specialist, and classroom teacher. According to Center on PBIS, 67% of referred students demonstrate positive effects. Tier 3 emphasizes on preventing unwanted behavior, teaching appropriate behavior, positively reinforcing appropriate behavior, and ensuring student safety. There are two types of teams associated with Tier 3 supports, the leadership team and student support team. The leadership team consists of someone with applied behavior expertise, administrative authority, multi-agency support, experience, knowledge of students, and knowledge about how the school operates across grade levels and programs. The student support team includes people from the student's school, home, and community. The goal for both teams are to transition a student to fewer intensive support. How do we know PBIS works? According to the article, Perceptions of Implementing Positive Behavior Interventions and Supports in High-Needs School Contexts, through the voice of local stakeholders, districts who have adopted PBIS has had a significant decrease of student negative outcomes such as expulsions, a reduction of office discipline referrals, and a decrease of suspension rates across all schools. As a result, there has been a rapid increase of PBIS adoption across the U.S., in which over 20,000 schools have adopted PBIS since 2014.
The following is data that was utilized to inform PBIS practices and strategies, along with information regarding climate and culture. According to the California dashboard, in 2020, 99.1% of students were Latino, 0.9% were white. 6.8% of our students who are socioeconomically disadvantaged are chronically absent. This was a decline by 4.1%. 7.8% of our English language learners were chronically absent, a reduction by 8.1%. And 15.2% of English language learners were suspended at least once. According to the California Healthy Kids Survey, from 2009 to 2010, 83% of our students were marked truant 0 times in the past 12 months. 7% were marked truant 1 to 2 times in the past 12 months. And 3% were marked truant once a week in the past 12 months. According to the CDE, which was very congruent with the California dashboard, shows that there was a total of 113 students enrolled at 100%. 112 of those which were Hispanic or Latino at 99.1%, and 1 enrolled that reported being white at 0.9%. This information, derived from the presented data, helps us learn and understand our students better, along with understanding their needs that they might have in the classroom, their homes, and their communities, that ultimately impact their presentation and behaviors in the school and in our classrooms.
Now that we know a little bit more about PBIS and how to build positive relationships with our students, we're going to use PBIS and those relationships with our students to help us meet these LCAP goals for the Lost Hills School District. So I want to remind you of our goals. Goals number 1 is all students will be on track for college and or career readiness. Goal number 2 is create a safe and welcoming environment for our students and connect with our school and their teachers. Number 3 is increase parent and family engagement as well.
In conclusion, conclusion, we have a list of resources for you all with links to handouts that go into greater depth about PBIS and the MTSS framework. There's also a great template here for teachers to create their own plan to implement PBIS in their classroom, as well as create lesson plans to teach expected behaviors and script prompts or reminders for desired behaviors that you'd like to see in your classrooms. Thank you for joining us today, and if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any of us on the social work team or your administrators as we look to collaborate further as we implement PBIS here in our school community. Thank you.